Once upon a time, in a bustling city, there lived an elderly gentleman named John who owned a small business selling handmade crafts. He had seen the world change over the years, and with it, people's values and priorities. One day, a young man named Alex came to John's shop to buy a present for his girlfriend's birthday. He flaunted his wealth and spoke of his expensive lifestyle, boasting about the latest gadgets and cars he owned. John, who had once been a wealthy man with a big house and a successful business, listened patiently to Alex's bragging. After a while, he asked Alex to sit with him and share a cup of tea. As they sipped on their tea, John started sharing his life story. John had started his own business selling handmade crafts when he was a young man filled with ambition and drive. His passion for his craft was infectious, and soon he had built a reputation for himself as an artisan who created beautiful and unique pieces. As his business grew, John began to enjoy the fruits of his labor. He bought a big house, a fancy car, and started taking expensive vacations. He believed that he had finally achieved the success he had always dreamed of and that his wealth would bring him happiness and fulfillment. However, his life took a tragic turn when his wife passed away after a long illness. John was devastated by her loss and struggled to cope with his grief. His business started to suffer as he lost focus and drive, and his relationships with his children became strained as he withdrew into himself. To make matters worse, John had made some bad business decisions that left him in debt. He had borrowed money to expand his business, but the new products he invested in didn't sell as well as he had hoped. Soon, he found himself struggling to keep up with his bills and repay his debts. Despite his troubles, John refused to give up. He continued to work hard and tried to turn his business around, but it was too late. His creditors were knocking at his door, and he was forced to sell his house and all his possessions to pay off his debts. In the end, John was left with nothing but his small shop and the memories of his wife and children. He had lost everything that he had worked so hard to build, and he was alone and broken. As he shared his story with Alex, John's eyes filled with tears as he spoke of his regrets and the pain of his loss. He warned Alex not to make the same mistake he had and to remember that money should never be the sole focus of life. He urged him to value his relationships and experiences and to never take them for granted. Alex was taken aback by the depth of emotion in John's story. He had never considered the true value of money, thinking that it was the key to happiness and success. But John's story had opened his eyes to a new perspective. John went on to tell Alex that money was important, but it should never be the sole focus of life. He explained that it was the relationships and experiences that truly mattered, and that was something that money could never buy. Alex left John's shop with a newfound appreciation for the value of money. He realized that money was important, but it should never come at the cost of losing sight of what truly mattered in life. He left the shop feeling motivated to build meaningful relationships and experiences, rather than just accumulating wealth. In the end, John's story had touched Alex's heart and changed his perspective on life. He realized that there was more to life than just money, and he was determined to live a more fulfilling and meaningful life.